Hello, and welcome back to Here's the Bit, episode 4, the big episode 4. Today, we're joined by guest, Mr. Holiday. Mr. Holiday, how are you doing today?
Good, gentlemen. How are we?
I'm doing great.
I'm doing
Good to
as
see
well.
you both. Good to see you. Yeah?
I think we just jump right into it.
Let's
do it. So, Holiday, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Craig Holiday. This is my 20th year at Bakersfield High School.
Nice.
27 years teaching high school. I was at Garces before this. So while I've been at BHS, it's been Euro and US of some form or another the whole way. At Garces, I did some other things, history of the Catholic Church, Old and New Testament. I did an AP Euro program there, AP US as well. So a bunch of different things along the course, yeah.
What's your favorite class to teach, like topic?
Probably, I love World War I and Euro especially. I feel like kids normally know a lot of World War II. They don't know as much World War I. So teaching something that people don't know is a little richer than teaching what they do know, I find.
Yeah.
That gives you something, a little bit more space to work with for sure.
Might open maybe fun conversations too.
It does.
When they have good knowledge on the
Good
subject.
questions. My classroom works on energy. And if I can get the energy from students, then I think I'm going to have a good class. If there's no energy, doesn't matter how much I bring. It's going to be flat.
Yeah, those phones.
The phones, my friends. Yes, they're an issue.
How have you adapted to the phones and the new distractions of this age?
I think I'm trying. I think Mr. Adams and I have worked quite a bit together this year in trying to get rid of the phones in the classroom. That's been a school-wide basis as well. I think the administration's been very supportive of that in trying to make sure that teachers have full support in getting the phones out of students' hands. And I get it. I mean, they're awfully addicting, right? Sit in a room of adults, say if I go to a doctor's appointment and they are on their phones, or sit with people and they're on your phones. So I've tried to do what I can to get them out of people's hands. Now, I also think part of that's on teachers. You have to be up there bringing good stuff. And if you are, then I think it's going to work out better. If you're boring or if you're not something that's interesting, I think there's the chance that you're going to fall prey to that more often than not. Yeah,
this year we've seen a big crackdown on the phones. Have you seen
the
people
red
more
light.
engaged because of that?
I think so. I think there's been more of a student willingness to go along with it too. I don't know why. For a while it just sort of seeped into everything and we let it happen, and maybe as teachers we were just trying to figure out what to do. And I think this summer I was in on a number of meetings that the administration held with teachers, and there's been a lot of financial support for, whether we're talking about like the stoplights you're seeing or the posters that you're seeing. There's been a lot of support to try and get more support to faculty for getting the phones out of there. And I think students are engaging well, so I'm happy with it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I was one of the kids that was on their phones and always doing the stuff, and then been cracking down. All the teachers have been doing on it, and I've been learning a lot more, I would say, too.
Are students good with the crackdown? How are students
they're
sort
good.
of receiving it?
A lot of them respond, especially Mr. Adams you're talking about.
Yeah.
He cracks down. Can't even have it on the desk.
Good.
Which I think is good. Not even the temptation is even there.
Yeah, if it's not even there.
Yeah. And then maybe it buzz and can, I don't know.
Yeah, I find the same with people who have an iWatch going. I think that if it's buzzing on your hand, that's constantly, right? I mean, and I know I've got a watch on people like, is that? No. I turned off all the phone calls, the messages and whatnot. I like all the other information it gives me, but I don't want to. Then you see people who are looking down at it and they're doing one of these and you're like, goodness gracious, man. Gosh, get some freedom.
Yeah, these screenagers.
Screenagers, is that a word?
Yeah,
that's
some
what
slang.
Screenagers. Look at me learning things today.
When the adults are on their phone, screen seniors.
Screen seniors, no matter the age. 24 years old, senior. There it is.
Screen
absolutely.
senior.
Yeah, if they're not a teen, then
done. Finished.
They're up.
Absolutely true.
You're
Yeah.
up there.
Yeah.
I feel like in my classes, I've seen once a teacher tells someone oh, get off your phone, they're normally pretty receptive to that. At least in the short term, because sometimes you don't even realize you're just man, I just saw that notification and now I'm just on my phone.
Now you're on your phone, you don't even realize it's happening, and you're brain rotting your way away, and people are just in there. I haven't had more than one or two significant issues all year.
That's
and
good.
it's a student who, is just can't put the thing down. And, teachers communicate. So what you guys don't see is that, say, on the attendance screen, there'll be a message that'll be like the first period teacher saying, oh, had to take the phone away from this kid.
Right.
And it's a little bit reassuring because then you see it third period and you'll go, oh, okay, that's a problem there too.
Yeah, it inspires you too.
It inspires you to have some strength. There's like a teamwork thing going on.
If they can do it, you can do it.
Yeah, absolutely, right. Be like, hold on, this is real. We're doing this out here, yeah. So I think it does help that it's a team ethic like that, yeah.
Well, like you were saying, you've been teaching for a long time. What would you be doing if you weren't teaching?
I think early in my college career, I thought it was going to be broadcasting. I thought I was going to do like ESPN type stuff.
I could see that.
And I would really love to do that. I did a lot of radio stuff. I managed a radio station. I was a DJ. I did like live sporting events, broadcasting. Really enjoyed it. And I think I just ended up having better history professors than communications professors. Mm-hmm. And so after a while, the communications side didn't speak to me as much. I took more history classes. And then I fully went off to graduate school with no idea what I was doing. My parents, I think, were beside themselves with, what the heck, man? We bought a 4-year education and you don't know what you're doing. And so my mentor in undergraduate had said, okay, go get a master's degree and you'll figure it out after that. Yeah. And thankfully, part of the deal that I had with my graduate school was that I would work for them teaching discussion sections. So twice a week, students would go to a big lecture, 600, 700 kids, 800, however many are in this room, it's big. And then once a week, Thursday or Friday, they go see a teaching assistant, me, or one of about 15 of us, and my job is to review what the prof has done in the big room. And I fell in love with teaching there. Yeah. So that's where the teaching came from. Other things I'd like to do, golf course architecture, love that idea. Like designing golf holes. If I'm doodling, I'm like drawing holes and stuff like that. That's kind of I love that idea of it. When I'm watching golf, I'm looking at, why is that bunker there? Or why is that green slope that way? Or why the curvature of it? That's in my brain.
Yeah, a little different here. But for engineering, I did like a mini golf course. And
I like it.
Designed it on there and did all these little things.
Oh, that's exactly the same vein.
It's fun.
That's very cool.
I guess. Mini golf, definitely different principles.
But the design side I like for sure,
Yeah, it was fun. Enjoyable.
Yeah,
for sure.
I could have done that forever, yeah.
What do you think ultimately led you to being where you are today? Like what was your childhood like and how, like your upbringing?
I think I had an incredibly loving home. Mm-hmm. And I think it sounds a little bit cliche to say it, but I cannot give my mom and dad enough thanks for what they did for my brother and I. Like twice in 5 years, my mom and dad had what would be a very stable middle-class existence, and they gave it all away to go for a better life for us. The first time from Africa to England, and then from England to Hawaii. And in both cases, that stuff backfires all the time. One of the aspects I would say of living in Hawaii was I lived in this small town, and people would come through who clearly were trying to make a dream. People who you look at and you go, what are they doing here? And they've moved from Colorado or Montana or Australia or England, and they're trying to make Hawaii work. And that kind of isolation is not for everybody. But for me, it was wonderful. My parents were awfully supportive. I grew up in this beautiful place, small little community, which I needed. I kind of need a little bit of that kind of attention, I think, in order to be successful. And then I went off to college at a smaller school there too. So I've been really lucky. I know that. Parents-wise, people I've been around, I fell in love with a wonderful woman. I teach her at this great school. Like, I think sometimes people look at their lives and they're disgruntled about it. I have had an amazing amount of luck when it comes to where I am today, and that has been the difference.
Coming from a small school in a small town, what's it like coming to a school?
It's
2,500 students.
That's unbelievable. My entire graduating class was 51, I think. Right? 51 students.
Wait, and what was 51?
51 students in my graduating class.
And what's the biggest class you've taught?
I think in Silas's 4th period last year, we at least had 51. I think for sure.
That's crazy.
And I went to school with at least half of those kids since kindergarten. And the other half came in from another small town. But BHS can be very overwhelming.
Yeah.
You know, I really only live in one BHS bubble. There's a whole nother BHS that I don't know much about. But if we're talking about these students who are on this track, I know those kids really well because I'm grateful enough that I get to teach all of them.
Yeah.
But I don't get to see much of the other BHS at all. So if I meet someone and they say, hey, you know, my nephew goes to BHS, part of me is going to be like, uh-oh, I'm not going to know this kid. And I don't most of the time. But, you know, it's a great place in the sense that I think it does do a lot to help people get used to the world.
Yeah.
That you're going to meet so many different people here, whatever background we're talking about, that BHS prepares you for life in a way that other places really don't. Right? And I don't know other places, but I can tell the products of those other places. I see those, and I know that the place is special in that sense. And I think that's particularly BHS.
Yeah. I know for me, I came from a small school, and I was like, oh, BHS is so big, I'm never going to understand everything. And then, you know, you just find like a core group of friends, like me and Silas, I think we both did. And then from there, I mean, you just get to know more and more people.
You do, and it's a pretty welcoming place.
For sure.
Right? I haven't come across any group here that's, you know, got barriers to entry that are like, no, we've got our crew, we don't need anybody else. It's a school that is able to absorb and absorb and absorb. And I also think it's good that even a school of this size, if you say, I want to go play water polo, you can go play water polo. Right? I want to go wrestle, you can go wrestle. You might not end up on the varsity, right? You might not be there, but you have the opportunity to go and do that. It's not something where that culture was framed when all these kids were freshmen and now they're seniors and tough luck you can't get in. Yeah. So it's good, I think, that it welcomes people to try those new things as they get older. Yeah.
Hey, one group on campus has had a lot of success and been very welcoming would be the chess club.
The chess club is popping. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, every week I'm hearing about a new meeting here, new cookies there.
Yes.
It's
quite an event. Yep.
The biggest thing the chess club has done in the history of Bakersfield High School would have had to been the big Camp 2 holiday throwdown chess match.
Yes.
Hundreds of students there, everyone cheering.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about that. It was crazy.
Incredible, like one of my favorite BHS moments in 20 years. And I said this to Ken too, and he knows it. He deserved to win, right? I played a crap game of chess.
Really?
And I think I played from a standpoint of, I'll just patch this together and win. I totally underestimated Cantu's ability at chess. And that was clear. And I got lucky at the end, and I won.
Yeah.
And part of the reason that I haven't been willing to sit down for a rematch is I know I'll lose the next one. So I really, you know, Cantu's a former student. He's a guy I think's doing a great job. And so it was nice to just hang out with him for 10 minutes. But I didn't anticipate all those people being there. And people, like, not just caring because there's cookies, right? There's people cared because it was a cool event and it was a big chess thing. And I think that club has done a lot of good stuff. So I really enjoyed it. I've heard some rumors about I opened with a disrespectful move or something.
I heard that too.
I don't know what that's about.
It was very unorthodox. You moved a pawn from the outside and not the normal pawn move.
Yeah, maybe I was trying to be different. I was in the chess club in high school. I'm a solid enough nerd to say that, right? I used to spend every lunchtime in the typing instructor's classroom. That was the chess club in my high school. We had this guy, Mr. Nakagawa was his name, and he was really good. And you'd play him, and if he started to lose, he would, and you could not do this today, he would get out a cigarette, and he would light up, and he would start blowing smoke at you, basically. And that would be an intimidation tactic, and you might lose. But yeah, I played chess all through high school, a little bit in college. I don't play as much as I should, but that was a lot of fun. I hope they do more stuff like that.
Kind of seemed like you were losing for a second.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a complete surprise. And then everyone just saw it 2 moves ahead, and we were just going crazy.
Well, thankfully, Cantu didn't see it because it was really the only ticket out of town for me.
Yeah.
I sort of pushed that queen back there, and I was like, is this going to work? And then it did work. I had this idea in the back of my mind that maybe if he made a mistake, I might win. Mm-hmm. But I was pretty sure halfway through that game I was losing.
Yeah. Do you think it was... Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
I was thinking maybe the pressure was like getting to you.
The
like
pressure
all these
must have.
people all like cheering, wanting to see who's going to win, who's going to come out on top.
Yeah, and I heard a lot of people like, well, we were surprised you won, or we were surprised he was doing well. I don't know the other ability of chess playing teachers on the campus. Who knows? You sit down with someone, they could be really good or they could not be. It just depends. But no, it's good to see that culture going well. Yeah.
Switching routes a little bit. What's one failure in life that you're glad that you had? Something you learned from?
Let's see. I think let's go with 2. Okay, one professional. I think early in my teaching career, I think I was not a great teacher. I think I was just pure energy, and I think I was entertaining. This is when I was in my early years at Garces, and I got an evaluation from an administrator that was harsh, that I thought was over the top harsh. But looking back on it, it was absolutely true. It was, you need to go learn your stuff. You're not all that. Yeah, the kids like you because you're energetic, but you better know what you're talking about. And really, that's the best advice you can give a teacher. Is it's cool to have, kind of your vibe as a teacher, and mine is that. It's some energy. It's a little over the top that way. But if you don't know what you're doing, if you don't have a clear plan and you don't have the information, you're just not doing it. And that's what it kind of sent me towards. So I tried to follow that later. I tried to be a teacher that says, okay, what am I going to do better and different this year? And that's been a pretty good rule to follow. On a personal level, I fell in love with this girl in college. And I thought it was going to be the thing. And I sort of pined after this girl forever, like, oh, this is going to be it. And she was dating this guy. And at the end of the junior year, I had broken up with a girlfriend. She had broken up with a boyfriend. And I thought, as I had gone back to Hawaii for the summer, I would come back in the fall and it would be like Shangri-La. And it wasn't. And I remember one of the moments of my life I can never take back, sort of moment. I had gone to see her. She was sitting in her dorm room. She was a resident assistant at the school. And I'm sitting here, and I look, and on the door is a card congratulating her on her engagement to be married. And I sort of looked at it like, what the heck? And then I realized that she had an engagement ring on. She'd been kind of hiding it a little bit, and it just, in a moment, like lightning bolted me like, oh, dude, you have misread this. And I knew that she'd been talking to this guy across the summer, and I thought he was just some guy. And it turned out they got married the next summer, and she turned out to be a bit of a wreck, so maybe I avoided the problem there. But it's sort of, sometimes you think you know what you're doing. And once in a while, it's really helpful if life just throws you completely off of the tracks. And I remember that moment thinking like, okay, just about the moment you think you've completely read it right, you haven't. And that's the key. Yeah.
So do you still keep in touch with her?
Once in a while, here and there. But it made sense then, doesn't make sense now, which is, it's perfectly understandable in life. Yeah.
What you were saying about teaching, that's actually one of my favorite parts about your class. Is not just like, I have an A in your class, but I actually get to learn, and
I appreciate it.
It's fun stuff. I like getting to learn about history.
Well, I think our students are innately curious, right? I mean, you guys want to know things. You want to be educated. It's not, as you say, it's not enough to simply say, hey, here's an A, have a nice day. I think our kids want to be challenged. I think they want to walk out of there knowing I've had a solid, rigorous education. Yeah. I hope.
Going back to the challenge, I'm glad that you actually learned from those mistakes. And you were just like, oh, this person doesn't know what they're talking about, and go on. I feel like that's a good quality to have, to actually learn and being willing to.
Yeah, it's humbling, right? I mean, life can do that to you, though. It really can shock you out of it, and you have to. I used to be pretty thin-skinned when I was younger too. Like I did not take criticism well. And I just think as you get older and you experience more of life, you just have to get a little bit thicker in the skin and a little bit more willing to take a criticism or some sort of a guidance or ask someone. You know, I'll say this. Someone who absolutely changed the direction of the way I am is Archie. Yeah, Archie Parks is the first person I met when I came to Bakersfield when we were both at Garces. And what I took from Archie is that you can talk to anybody. And you know Archie, he will talk to anybody. Yeah. But Archie I was a little more shy until I met him. And then you realize when you talk to Archie that you just walk up to someone and just start talking to him. And that works. And that's very much an Archie move. Just, just straight up to the person and have a conversation with them. And if you say to Archie, I don't think we can do that. Why not? Why not? He's a human. You can't talk to him? Why not? So he's absolutely, brought me out of my shell a little bit in that sense.
Good. Yeah. Good point. What's it like being a parent while teaching high school and having kids in high school?
It's tough. It's hard, I would say. I've struggled at it. I think there are days where I'm a much better teacher than I am a parent. And I think that's just trying your best and trying to understand your own student's journey in their path through high school and trying to understand what they're passionate about. Now, I'd love it if all my kids loved history. They don't. They love other things. And so trying to feel the right way about that and to channel your passion for what you do to help them and their passion for what they do it's been difficult. I only know a love of school, right? My whole life, that's probably the skill I've been the most good at, is I am good at school. And it helps you, if you're a teacher, to be good at school. Yeah. And I think my students, my kids, that is, would be honest with you and tell you that they don't love school. That they enjoy it and they like the social side of it and they like the athletics and the activities. But I don't know that classes excite them in the same way. So finding the common ground with them has been tougher. And it's just forced me to adapt and to be better there. And that's good for me. It's a growing process, but it's been good for me for sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's good. All right. I think one more question wrapping up.
Okay.
What's one thing that you wish students knew about teachers?
Oh, we have lives. We have lives. When you see me at Target and I'm doing something or whatnot, and I think it's always weird to see students too, because both of us have broken a bit of a wall with each other. Like, whoa, you're here and you're here. What are you getting?
School?
Yeah, they let you go home, and so I think there are days where you walk into a classroom and you have to just be like, okay, everything around me is going maybe a bit bad. But I can't show that. I'm going to have to just steer the boat straight here today. And you learn to do that. And I think being in that position as a father, as a husband, as a person has helped me to deal with students. Because I'm looking out at people who are facing the same thing, who are having a rough day, or they had a bad practice yesterday, or mom and dad are driving them nuts about their grades or about cleaning up their room or something. I probably wasn't as understanding about that when I was younger. I think that I had this idea that everyone should have exactly the same zeal in a classroom that I do. And you just have to meet kids where they're willing to meet you. You can, once you've met them there, you can drag them in a certain direction. I think that works. I think you can kind of be like, let's care about this. And you can convince even reluctant students to care about stuff. But you have to be willing to kind of meet them there. And I think I've gotten better at that, by just understanding that they're having a day, and sometimes I'm having a day. Even if I don't appear to be having a day, people are having a day, and that's just how it is. My closest friend on the campus is Mr. Adams, and we talk constantly. And I think there are days where both he and I would admit that we go in there and here's the teaching, and you wouldn't guess what's going on back here, right? It's like going to a theatrical performance. You don't see behind the stage. Other things are happening, but that's just the same for everybody. Yeah.
High school's a crazy place.
It is. It is
happening.
Yeah, but it's a great time. I don't know if it's the best years of life.
Really?
College, I think, is pretty darn good. Yeah. But I'm not. High school is fun, but you really don't have a ton of freedom in that sense. I think college is better. Young adulthood, say maybe when you're early and you're married, maybe there's no kids yet. That's a pretty good stretch of life.
Pretty free there.
There it is. Yeah. It is. You start and earn some real money. You can take some trips. Yeah, those are points of life that I think are fantastic.
Sure. You know, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you know of Lake Holiday?
I have heard of this truly impressive body of water.
Yeah.
And I heard of 2 young men who allegedly caught a really good fish there once.
Really? That sounds interesting.
It is
That sounds
interesting.
crazy.
Huh. Yeah. The explorer, Lonnie McConnell, found Lake Holiday. And then the other day I found the source of Lake Holiday. And I don't know if you guys know this, but there is a cooling line that comes out of Warren Hall that has to be drained every once in a while.
Like
and
I saw that
and
thing.
it comes out, and it is the source of Lake Holiday when it's not raining. And the other day it was flowing strong, and so I sent a picture to Mr. McConnell, like, this is like the source of the Nile, man. This is the source of the Amazon here.
This is where it's at.
Lake Holiday's beginning point is this pipe.
Yeah.
And that's something to know.
I saw that and I was so confused. I'm like, what is that for?
I think they've done a really nice job out there. Yeah. I didn't know lakes would be a center point of it, but it's nice to know that that's a part of it too.
It's cool.
Yeah, it's nice.
There's in the landscape of BHS.
Yeah. Spices it up a little.
It does. Kind of gives people something to look for. Yeah. Mr. McConnell did say that the other lake next to it, the subsidiary lake, is Lake Adams. I haven't seen a ton of water in Lake Adams yet, but I bet when it's filled up, it'll be beautiful.
I bet so.
It'll be an absolute picturesque thing.
Lake Holiday, Lake Adams.
Yeah, that's a good combination right there, yeah.
Maybe have to bust out some floaties, you know, take a swim.
Take a couple laps in there.
Yeah.
You know, the only problem is it does collect a little bit of trash too. And then when it dries up, the trash is left on the edge. And then it looks like Lake Holiday is a sad thing. Yeah, right on the edge.
I heard Lake Holiday and Lake Adams are actually going to make a run for the Great Lakes.
We've got them. Really, I mean, what is a Huron, Erie, Superior anyway? I know those are words, but Holiday and Adams are a pretty powerful duo. Yeah.
There's a significance to them.
Yeah, there is. There is. And really, locally, we've got Lake Ming, no thank you. Lake Buena Vista, not needed. So here are the lakes that we should really be focusing on.
I guess you could say they have history.
Oh, man.
Perfect. That's like the crowning moment of the podcast right there.
Well, it's all to that part.
You might say that was the bit. You might say that was it right there.
You guys are quick on your feet.
It's beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah.
Hey, well, thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having me, gentlemen. This was a thrill.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
I hope you guys have a lot more of these.
Yeah.
For sure. Here,
thank you very much.
Hey,
time to break the third barrier or whatever.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment,
and of course,
YouTube, Spotify, Instagram. And we'll see you next time. Take care. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen.
See you later, Mr.
Thank you. I appreciate it.